This week, Emmet and I pick up where we left off 2 weeks ago and discuss Fantastic Four 53, Part 2 of the initial meeting of the FF and Black Panther, and our introduction to Panther's nemesis, Ulysses Klaw. First, as always, I'd like to thank our patrons for helping to keep the show going. You can pitch in by pledging at least $2 a month at patreon.com/deconcomics. This is Tim.
This is Emmet.
And this is Deconstructing Comics. Welcome to Deconstructing Comics. This is Tim in Tokyo with Emmet in country Victoria, Australia. Hello.
Hello. We're back.
We're back with Fantastic Four 53, the second appearance of the Black Panther. And we, recently we did the episode on the previous issue. And as always, we went long. So it made more sense to do this as a separate episode. It's really a nearly unrelated story. I mean, it does follow on from the previous issue, and there's mention of this hunt and why he wanted to hunt them. But this issue brings in all kinds of other stuff. So the cover shows FF and Panther and some creature that with light flashing out of it, we can't really see what it is. And it says the way it began. So on the first page of the story, full page panel, the FF and Wyatt are sitting on a platform with Panther on his throne behind them. I don't know if they still do it this way, but his throne is the open mouth of a Panther figure.
Yeah.
Like he's about to get eaten.
Didn't Thundercats have something similar too? Didn't Lino's throne have like a...
Maybe. That was a little after my time. I never really watched that.
Or am I just thinking of the actual castle they lived in was a giant panther with a mouth open? Giant cat, let's say. Big cat.
And of course, we've got dancing tribes people. And musicians.
And automatic weapons. Still automatic weapons. They're in shot.
Mm-hmm.
I do wonder if people keep insisting that Black Panther, the character, has nothing to do with Black Panther, the civil rights paramilitary movement in the States. It was a complete coincidence. But I do wonder if, given the prominence of modern weapons in these issues, and the contrasting views of Ben about Darkest Africa, I do wonder if this was maybe a response to some of the revolutions that are happening in Africa, like within countries seeking independence from colonial powers within the continent, and there were more wars happening within this period. So maybe this is a kind of commentary on that. The principal one I always think of is Algeria, but there were so many conflicts around the time that were about Europe actually having to reckon with, hey, you don't get to own everything. You don't get to have all of this.
Right. Yeah. A lot of those colonies were getting their independence around this time. And Ben is still making these comments. Sheesh, a bunch of Fred Astaire's they ain't. Johnny says, relax, Ben. It's better than being shot at by them. Ben is still puzzled. He says, I still don't get it. They tossed a bunch of science fiction gizmos at us that Doc Doom would have been proud of using, and now they're acting like they're all charged up on account of just inventing the wheel. Okay.
My God, Ben. Again, we need, this is the issue. It's is this ironic dialogue, or is this what's happening here, or is Stan and askance at the very concept that Jack is putting forward, which is this technologically advanced African nation? And it sounds like, well, we need to pull the reins of this a bit. Even the panel where the people are all admiring thing, the dialogue, I believe, shifts the meaning of what that panel is doing a bit.
All right, break it up. Break it up. What are y'all gaping at anyway? Ain't you never seen a bashful blue-eyed thing before?
Yeah, it's strange. I don't. I
Well,
feel like it's more joyful than
mm-hmm,
his response is more aggressive to
mm-hmm.
clear sort of, hey, look at you, you're kind of cool.
But I think what Ben was trying to say might have been that, last issue they were getting attacked and now everybody's lauding them. And he feels like it's a switch in their attitude towards the FF.
Yeah, it's maybe, yeah, maybe the dialogue needs to do. We give Jack crap for not having good dialogue, but sometimes Stan as well. And going, what point are you actually making here? What is actually what you're trying to say? Because it sounds like you're having a white character resent the fact that these people actually are independent and civilized and have a very good standard of technology. You seem to resent that. That seems to be what you're saying, particularly given the comment about inventing the wheel. You know,
Yeah. And so Panther's giving them a tour of his castle, I guess. And yeah, when we were doing the previous issue, I was talking about my laughter at what was high tech in 1966.
yes,
Reed saying to Sue, "Still another example of the old and the new, darling. Look at that elaborate stereo music system, complete with tape recorder."
and that's beautiful. Yeah, it's like something out of American Psycho.
Yeah, but 60 years ago, sure, but now it's like abandoned technology practically.
But then we also have Johnny Storm saying, "Wow, what a pad! I bet even Hugh Hefner couldn't improve on this layout." And going, "Okay, again, Stan, my guy, my brother in Christ, what are we doing? Why are you bringing Hugh Hefner into this? We all know what Hugh Hefner was doing.
Yeah.
Why are you mentioning this now?" What were you doing at Hugh Hefner's place, Stan? Is Stan Lee in the Epstein files? No, sorry.
So, yeah, Panther says he's one of the richest men in the world. He can afford this. But actually, the Black Panther lives under a tragic curse. But my tale really begins with the spear and shield of my father, T'Chaka, the warrior king, which we see the shield and spear. And then the harp plays and the screen goes blurry and we go into a flashback.
Yeah. No, again, just a quick note on this, like T'Chaka, the character T'Chaka. He's introduced in this issue. He, like, spoilers, he dies straight away. I feel T'Chaka in the movies, and again, this is kind of what I'm trying to parse out because I feel like a lot of people's understanding of Black Panther comes from this text, which is the Brian Coogler film. T'Chaka is given so much more presence. It casts a very respected South African actor to play the role, and he's given multiple scenes even after his death, and flashback scenes and everything, setting up who T'Chaka was, and so it creates more of a continuity in terms of T'Challa and his relationship to his family and to his people. So it's interesting what the writers chose to emphasize when adapting this character to the movies, and what they thought gave more respect and maybe gave more depth to the character.
I'm trying to remember. T'Chaka didn't die in the Black Panther movie. It was an Avengers movie or something. I don't remember.
It was Captain America: Civil War. So he dies.
Okay.
So he does die in the first time you see him. This is true. But he keeps coming back because you got this idea of the spiritual presence. And he also is featured in the Black Panther movie as a younger man because we have the opening flashback of the film. So he's much more of a active presence. This isn't Hamlet's ghost. This is actually Hamlet Senior doing stuff, like actually getting involved and making some terrible mistakes. That is a very interesting distinction with this version of him.
So before we go to the flashback, we change scenes and we see a white hunter and his black sidekick in the jungle somewhere, and they're attacked by huge red animals, a gorilla and an elephant, which they're unable to shoot even. They try to shoot at them, and it just causes like an explosion, and they're running for their lives, basically. So, of course, in this issue, we'll find out what these giant red animals are. So then we go back to Panther and the FF, and he points out that the bench they're sitting on is made of vibranium. And that's why Wakanda is so rich and has so much technology, because they make a lot of money from selling the vibranium. Now, I don't understand how one mountain can have an inexhaustible supply of anything, because it seems like eventually you dig up the mountain, it's gone. But he says it's an inexhaustible supply, so okay.
Yeah, isn't that like the problem with West Virginia right now? It's like you actually can dig up a mountain, and then you got a hollow mountain, and you got nothing left.
Yeah. So maybe the mountain like manufactures vibranium or something. It forms quickly in the earth or something. Okay, so here's the actual flashback, and we see T'Chaka wearing that like white hair, like a lion's mane around his head, because yeah, we can see he has black hair.
Yeah.
But
it's a sort of tribal headgear.
Yeah, maybe from a white panther or a white tiger or something. And we see young T'Challa with him, and the narration tells us how much he looked up to his father. To me, he was like a god. And Panther will be chieftain one day, but his father was chieftain at that time. And yeah, Ben says, "Look, kiddo, why don't you save yourself the trouble? I know the rest by heart. Everything was hunky-dory until the greedy ivory hunters made the scene."
Again, my guy, what are we doing? What are we doing, Ben? Like,
well,
look at the way he's positioned. Look at Ben, how he's depicted. He's got his hand on T'Challa's shoulder, almost comforting him. That's what it looks like to me.
Mm-hmm.
And he's got an expression on his face which looks like sympathy. But the dialogue is sarcastic. Yeah. Let me go get the world's smallest violin type dialogue, And then he keeps going on again about you're talking to a guy who's seen every Tarzan movie at least a dozen times. Like, not only does that date the character horrendously, but it's this dismissiveness throughout this issue with Ben.
Well, and Reed is kind of scolding him.
Sure.
That's enough, Ben. But Panther says he doesn't mind the thing's interruptions, and that actually Ben's not far off, except it wasn't ivory hunters. It was somebody who called himself Klaw, the master of sound, and he possessed a weapon the like of which no man had ever seen before, a weapon which could convert sound into mass. The fools, they mocked me when I said that vibranium existed, but now I have found it here in this jungle, and it must be mine. And on, supervillain dialogue. And we see Klaw arrived at Wakanda and started shooting people, including T'Chaka, who died. With no blood anywhere, but he died from gunshot wounds. Yeah. But I mean, it's comics code, so what can you do? I don't think you could show people bleeding from multiple bullet wounds with the comics code.
But it's interesting here because we see Klaw arrive with his mercenaries, and we see them kill the tribespeople, and we see T'Chaka die, and the Wakandas are shown here with shields and spears. And they are living on the plains, it looks like. They're living in like a sort of cleared area of huts, and they get attacked by Klaw's men. Yeah. So in the present day, T'Challa is fabulously wealthy, has a palace, and the Wakandas have modern weaponry. So is the
But
implication
yeah, they hadn't taken advantage of the existence of the
yes,
vibranium yet.
until Claw arrived to do this. So that's where there's this idea almost that in attacking them for this precious mineral, Wakanda decided, okay, well, now we will actually start selling this material. Which again flips it from our understanding from the movies, because in the movies, Wakanda is widely perceived to be a poor nation of tribespeople, and secretly is this highly advanced technology science, society. So there's a shift, and it always has been like it's been this way for a long time before the events of the movies. So there's a difference in terms of the approach here.
Right.
Do you like comics? The 1960s? How about middle-aged gay couples gossiping about their neighbors? Then you'll love Checkered Past.
A loving examination of DC's Go-Go Check branded comic magazines published from February 1966 to August 1967.
I'm Dr. Bob.
And I'm Dr. Husband.
And each week we'll be your hosts on a trippy tour through mid-century four-color madness. Checkered Past. Available wherever fine podcasts are downloaded for free.
This podcast is part of the Deconstructing Comics Network, where we're grateful to our supporters on Patreon. Patrons get exclusive extra content. Pledge $2 a month or more and get Batman 66 podcast Bat Bits. This month we'll be completing our look at the draft script for A Riddle a Day Keeps the Riddler Away. And coming up, novelist Nancy Northcott returns to discuss the portrayal of women in Batman Season 3. At $4 a month, you also get our monthly show Silver Age Batman, where we're looking at many of the wacky Batman stories from the 50s. This month we find ourselves in the late Golden Age for The Secret Life of the Catwoman from Batman 62. Also at the $4 level, you can still access our past series that covered the first 50 issues of Amazing Spider-Man, including episodes with guest spots by Swamp Thing artist Steve Bissette and New Yorker cartoonist Joe Dater. Follow our Patreon for free and get access to the first 2 episodes of both Bat Bits and Silver Age Batman. Check it out at patreon.com/deconcomics. And thanks for your support. And T'Challa, as he's a boy here, somehow gets a hold of Klaw's weapon, the strange weapon, surprisingly light in weight. I lifted it, carrying it with me until I reached the gates of our village, where my eyes beheld Klaw's final act of villainy, and the village is on fire. People are running away, and T'Challa shoots at Klaw and his men with their own weapon, including hitting Klaw in the hand. And, of course, we know what happens with the hand eventually. And I guess that's it for the flashback. But Panther chased, T'Challa, not yet Panther yet, chased them away by shooting at them with their own weapon.
Yeah, so it's an interesting observation. So did the Panther not exist until T'Challa?
Well, yeah, we don't see T'Chaka in a Panther uniform.
We will, in other later comics, we will see that the Panther is actually an ancestral role that's been passed down for centuries. Like, it's always been part of the Wakanda's history. Yeah. That's something that's going to come back. We're going to see T'Chaka and Captain America have a fight eventually. That happens in the 1940s. T'Chaka wins. Fans on the internet, once again.
Because when heroes meet the first time, they have to fight.
They have to fight. Every time. So, this story is going to change. There's going to be, which makes sense, because this is not Black Panther as we know it in these issues. This is a character called Black Panther who's in the comic for 2 stories. We're never going to see him again. But actually, no, this is going to take off in a big way.
Right. Well, yeah, it's kind of a of a audition. Are the readers going to be interested or not? By the way, while we're on that topic, I looked up like what was his next appearance. So in Fantastic Four 56, Klaw attacks the FF in New York, trying to get vengeance on them for what happens in this issue. But Panther doesn't appear in that one. Apparently, Panther doesn't show up again until Avengers 55, 2 years later. I'm not sure why it took them 2 years to get back to Panther. That's surprising. But and of course, Klaw was in that also.
Yeah, fair enough. No, we need to always bring Klaw back. I mean, like, just before we go any further, like, what are your thoughts on Klaw? Like, he is essentially a big ivory hunter type character. Even he has the hat and everything. Like, that's how he's presented to us, and he just has this sound obsession,
right?
And
But yeah, I mean, I think Ben's reference to old movies is probably apt because that's where the Stan and Jack are here, kind of riffing on old movie ideas, and with the pith helmet and everything. It's just that we're throwing in this aspect of a non-existent mineral and this high-tech stuff. Yeah,
like Black Panther has
tape recorders even.
Yes, Black Panther has precursors. I mean, you have Tarzan. We keep mentioning Tarzan. We also have the Phantom. Like the Phantom is a big part of this too. Mm-hmm. And you, if you go back further, you have some sort of John Carter of Mars type stuff happening here too. But I look at this and I go, he's such an interesting character from the jump. Interesting character. He's the leader of a nation. He's got this highly advanced technology. He wears this ceremonial garb that happens to look like a superhero costume. He comments on that himself. And he likes to challenge the Fantastic Four to get their measure before he explains his story to them. This is all quite dynamic, quite interesting stuff. Klaw, the sound stuff's kind of interesting, but like I just don't think he's a compellingly designed character. He's just another white invader. I have no problem with this story in terms of I think that's good. I just don't know why we keep bringing Klaw back is my point. Like, is there something inherently interesting about Klaw?
Well, so at the end of this issue, skipping ahead, we see him try to convert his whole body into sound. And so his subsequent appearances, he's got, a supervillain costume and more powers than he has here.
Yes. Yeah. So he does evolve. That's true. But then they keep bringing him back to, he's got this sort of sound weapon attached to his arm.
Right. In place of his hand.
They keep bringing that version of him back. And that's sort of closer to what we see in the film as well. That's kind of the idea of him. And he dies off pretty early in that too.
Yeah, we don't really get the costume in the movie. And yeah, he's dead. So, I mean, the MCU keeps killing off characters that we'd really like to see them keep using, but for the most part. But, I mean, they killed off MODOK. Why did they kill MODOK?
Well, now that we read, MODOK was a terrible, terrible experience for everyone involved, including the actor. But now that we actually saw the story behind, I was thinking about this earlier today, that Captain America storyline we read with, I always get this name wrong, and you correct me every time. You're always right to correct me. So I'm not going to say Zemo again, because it's not Zemo.
Right.
It's the other one. It's the guy with the face in his chest.
Right. I'm blanking.
It's not Strucker. It's not Zemo. It's all the Captain America Nazi characters. Toby Jones played him in the movie.
Let's see.
Arnim Zola.
There we go.
It's the Z that trips me up. Arnim Zola. Now, Arnim Zola is an evil scientist in the movie, and then we see him be a simulated AI in a computer screen, and that's it. And then he's destroyed. Whereas in the comics, he's this weird mesh of man, machine, and capitalist magic. And I'm going, this is amazing. Why don't we have this? This is such a cool concept. Bring him back. So yeah, I guess. Maybe.
Well, yeah, many MCU versions of characters have been disappointing, but Taskmaster comes to mind. I was super disappointed with Taskmaster. Okay, so it turns out that this confrontation with Klaw was exactly 10 years ago from the point when the FF are visiting. What are the chances? Ben says, that story's just plain nutty enough to be true. Panther says, it is true. I sold small portions of vibranium to various scientific foundations, enabling me to amass a fortune, the equal of any on Earth. And that's why he can afford all the tech now. And he mentions that he gets the Panther power from a certain herb. That'll be the heart-shaped herb later, not mentioned here. So we eat certain herbs and undergo rigorous rituals of which I am forbidden to speak.
And I've clearly made a mistake because I was complaining earlier on about the chieftains not really being Black Panthers, but he talks about it here. It's a secret handed down from chieftain to chieftain. So clearly T'Chaka was, but even in this appearance.
But T'Challa also, in these issues, doesn't always wear the Panther costume. So
yes.
So T'Chaka also didn't always wear it, I guess. And Panther says that you four were the supreme test. If I could fight you to a standstill, then I am ready for Klaw. Although he has kept hidden from me all these years, I know he is planning to, and then the alarms goes off. So I guess Klaw has a sense of time too. Okay, we got to do it on the anniversary. Wait,
gotta do it mid-sentence.
It has come, the long-awaited critical danger signal. This sensoscope is recording the approach of a nameless menace from the direction of our sacred mound. Klaw has returned. And then we see tribesmen with big high-tech guns shooting at the giant red gorilla, but the shooting doesn't make the gorilla stop. Even as the force bolt strikes him, he seems to be gathering its energy within his body. And now, it's not possible. He took the full impact of the blow and hurls it back at us. He has demolished our advanced outpost with our own weapon. And we see men and pieces of machine flying away in this blast.
I do love people expositing as they're getting thrown out. That is so natural and normal.
Sure, that's what anybody would do. So then Panther and the FF and Wyatt are all running towards the danger here. Now, this was really irritating because Reed says it's not a gorilla, Ben. It's something far more dangerous. What, darling? What is it? And then it takes 2 pages before he actually gets around to explaining it. He just keeps dropping these ominous comments. And then finally, 2 pages later, after Ben and Johnny have tried to attack this gorilla and been blown away by him, then he says, okay, these creatures are made out of sound. It's so horrible. It's not possible. I almost wish I didn't know this, but it's sound. Yeah, I mean, keep us waiting here. So, yeah, finally, 2 pages later, he's telling Ben what's going on. Meanwhile, Panther is sneaking through the jungle on branches. Okay, so he finds Klaw's lab. Not even a mobile lab. It's like he's built a building out here in the jungle
I guess. And Klaw has some big contraption. Lest I'm ready to launch my main attack. For you, Klaw, there shall be no more attacks. For you, there is only retribution. Sounds like somebody else. That voice, I last heard one like it 10 years ago, but I can never forget it. The Black Panther, the one whose name is muttered in whispers throughout Africa. I thought you were just a legend, a myth, but you do exist.
So he hears the voice of Black Panther and he recognizes it as the voice of the child.
Yeah.
Who used his own sound weapon against him.
Right. So, yeah, this big contraption is where the sound animals come out of. They're generated by it. And Klaw generates a panther from sound that jumps out and attacks T'Challa. And we see Ben against the giant red elephant, throwing a rock at it, and then it makes a big explosion and steps on Ben. And somehow the more Ben fights, the stronger the force of the elephant is. But then the elephant fades away. You see, Ben, there are some problems that raw strength alone just won't solve. Well, if you expect to get rid of them, live in animal crackers by reciting poetry at them, count me out. Reed, darling, what can we do? It all seems so hopeless. The Black Panther, he's the one who holds the key to all this. But where is he? What happened to him? And then we switch scenes, and he's still fighting the Red Panther.
We can't keep going. We can't keep going on and commenting on Reed turning himself into a hammock. For Johnny and Sue. That is some weird notions right there.
Yeah, well, Ben is getting up after his fight with the elephant, and Wyatt is helping him up. Yeah, Johnny and Sue are sitting in a reed hammock.
Did you see that Wyatt descended into the previous page panel on a rope? Like he swung into the panel. It's amazing.
Okay, so Klaw kind of turns off the sound panther, saying, I can see now I may toy with you no longer. It is time for my supreme weapon to be brought into play. He merely pushed a lever, and the beast is vanishing as though he has never existed. It was no illusion, son of T'Chaka. I have merely reconverted him back into basic sound, and now using my sound-powered force glove, I'll change the basic structure of your body. Yeah, and we see the same weapon replacing his hand that we see in current-day Klaw. Then with the Black Panther gone, I'll seize the treasure of the Wakandas. The sacred mount of vibranium will be mine at last. Never, while a tribesman lives. Then they must die, starting with you. But then his converter starts to blow up or be blown apart by... Okay, Panther was able to figure out which lever would overload the circuits. Why would you have a lever for overloading the circuits? This lever overloads the circuits. If we're ever in a fight, our enemy can blow everything up by flipping this lever.
And T'Challa is a man who knows his levers. I don't know if you noticed. In the previous page, when the alarm alerted T'Challa that Klaw was back, there were levers in the background of the panel, and they all had cat heads. For the head. I thought that was some incredible detail.
So the whole mountain blows up. That Klaw had his lab inside. Okay. And then, of course, the red animals disappear because that machine is destroyed. And Panther says it was Klaw who created them. Klaw, who in his madness learned the incredible secret of transforming sound into mass. But I destroyed his electronic equipment. It would take him a lifetime to replace it, if he survived. And now Panther is feeling like his purpose in life is gone for some reason because he can't... I mean, Klaw is taken care of, so What am I going to do? So, but the FF are encouraging him. The world will always have need of a dedicated, powerful fighter against injustice. Reed's right, fella. The way things are going today, you never hear of a superhero being out of work. Anyway, with a costume like that, you can always become a wrestler or a new kind of folk singer. I shall do it. I pledge my fortune, my powers, my very life to the service of all mankind. So, in the priest thought of this, is he maybe saying that, but thinking, oh, I know what I can do.
That flips this scene completely. Because, and as read, presumably as intended for it to be read by Stan and Jack here, it is a bit insipid. It's like, I don't know what to do with myself. What am I going to do?
Well, you are king of a country. You might put some time into that. No, I'm going to go to New York and join the Avengers.
Oh, gosh, mister. You think I could be a superhero? Well, shucks. I'll get on that right now. If this is a manipulation, it's a much more powerful scene. It's a much more interesting scene.
Right. Even if it took 30 plus years for that to come out. But
yes.
And the last scene, we see Klaw waking up in the wreckage, but somehow his machine is still working, apparently, and he gets inside of it to transform himself into pure sound, giving him powers enough to enable me to destroy the accursed Black Panther, and after him anyone else I so choose. And Stan writes, it is not unlikely that we shall meet the Black Panther and his arch-foe Klaw once again, but till we do, don't miss the start of a brand new storyline next ish. You know how it upsets us when you're not in at the beginning.
I mean, I do wish I had read this story a long time ago, because it does create context for a lot of stuff we saw afterwards, as we were talking about. But I love this sequence here with Klaw, because he's saying, I never learned what would happen if a human altered his own basic structure via my sound transformer. Wasn't that what he was threatening the child with?
Yeah.
So, or is he saying, well, I control it as an offense, I can control the defense we should destroy, but within the contained environment of the device, I will be transformed into sound under my own power. But I wish, maybe there's a what if idea where Klaw uses his weapon on the child. It just becomes more powerful. He just becomes, well, now I can become anything, any shape I choose, because now I'm pure sound waves. And I got Panther power too.
Okay, so that wraps up this issue. So in the near future, we're going to jump to Kirby's 70s work on Black Panther. And my brother gave me as a gift the electronic collection of Kirby Black Panther stuff, so I'm all set.
Oh, great.
I think it was for my birthday back in June. We're finally getting to it. Fantastic Four is, of course, published by Marvel. Issues 52 and 53 are included in Fantastic Four Volume 6 in the Marvel Masterworks series. Follow us on Blue Sky at Decon Comics. Join our Facebook page or the more active group. Listen to our audio-only videos on YouTube. All of those are linked from deconstructingcomics.com. You can communicate with us via any of those sites or drop us a line at mail@deconstructingcomics.com or talk to us. Click the Leave a Voicemail link on the left sidebar of our site. Are you making a comic? Send it to us and we'll do a Critique and Comics episode about it. Our theme is by J.B. Anderton. The music backing the promotion of our Patreon is Change by Jazar. Fiction writers often work out of a sense of getting their demons out on the page, regardless of how depressing it might be for anyone else to read it. Kumar and I found Inio Asano's Goodnight Punpun to be an example of this. Punpun and his cartoony family, out of place in a beautifully rendered world, are dealing with a relentlessly negative world where seemingly every parent is abusive and/or alcoholic, and everyone seems to be filled with self-loathing, Kumar and I will try not to be terribly depressing when we discuss the first 4 volumes of Goodnight Punpun next week. Till then, this is Tim, and thanks for listening to Deconstructing Comics.